Welcome to Story Matrix. Another day, another story. Hey everyone! Are you ready to journey into the world of nuclear revenge? Where the stakes are high and the decisions are yours to make. Today, we'll explore real-life stories of individuals who sought revenge for themselves, but the question is, did they go too far? The Matrix wants you to decide. Are you up for the challenge? Let's go. Ultimate revenge on food thieves. Illegal or not? In first year at university, somewhere in the west of England, I lived in a large Georgian student house which had 23 postgrads living in it, all boys. We had 3 kitchens, but some people would raid other fridges, and I was sick of people stealing my food. In microbiology, we were doing some experiments with an orthopox virus. Think of it as a much less severe version of cowpox, harmless enough they'd let first-year students use it with only masks, gloves and glasses. Anyway, one of my lab partners didn't use sterile technique on her inoculating loop particularly well and ended up with a blister on her lips. She used to heat it too quickly and create an aerosol. Eventually I was fed up with the thievery and took a little sample of said virus and added it to a block of cheese. A couple of days later, the 2 perps also had a couple of blister-type lesions around their mouths which lasted a few days and meant they didn't want to go out. They had an inkling it was me, but I made some cheese on toast in front of them, while ensuring I wasn't cross-contaminating, so came away unscathed. The cheese gets hot enough to denature the virus. My food was never touched again, but I often think how risky this was. Wife beater faces his judgment day? This all happened in 1985, so this was before security cameras were a household thing, plus this happened in remote Georgia. My grandmother, Clara, told me that when my mom, Angela, turned 19 she got engaged to a man, Dick, his actual name BTW. Clara noticed that he was very controlling, i.e. she couldn't use a phone, the landline, and he forbid her from going to family events. Clara's final straw was when my mom called her in the middle of the night crying, saying she couldn't do it anymore and that he had been beating her. By this point they had been together for almost 2 years and had my older brother. Clara told my mom to go to my great-grandfather's house and stay there but tell Dick that she was going to her house. My mom did as she was asked and Clara waited for him. He eventually came in the middle of the night yelling that Angela needed to come home and stop acting like a child. Clara told Dick that she was inside. He went in and Clara came in behind him and hit him over the head with a bat that she had set beside the inside of the door. Dick fell to the floor and Clara hit him several times in the legs and arms, breaking one of his arms and fracturing a rib. When she was done, she told him to never come near her daughter or he would be in a ditch next. He never came back. Pretty sure he burned my mom's stuff, but she didn't care. Before we move on to the final revenge story, please smash that subscribe button, so you can stay plugged into the Matrix. Blinding retribution, road rage on roids? I was driving home from work and traffic was backed up pretty badly for a few miles. It was stop and go. When I get stuck in that, I'll usually back about 75 feet off the car in front of me so that I can hold a pace and move at a slow, but constant roll, like the semi-trucks do. This way I am not participating in the bumper-to-bumper move and brake like the rest of the smooth brain drivers. Some dude in an Acura crossover was behind me, and I guess he was getting upset because I wasn't 2 feet from the car in front of me, driving like a smooth brain. So he gets up on my butt and starts beeping his horn at me. Lol, I think to myself as I turn up my radio. But then he starts flashing his brights at me, which is where I get annoyed. He's in one of those Acuras that has the super bright LED headlights. My car is much lower than his, so his low beams are already pretty bright in my mirrors. Bright enough that I don't want to look in them. The first time he flashed his high beams, it put spots in my vision for a moment. It genuinely hurt my eyes. After the first flash, he waits for about 10 seconds, beeps his horn, and then flashes me again. Now I am getting pissed. I am thinking, where the F do you want me to go? Do you really think being 2 feet from the car in front of you will make traffic move faster? Then he flashes me a third time, but this time he held them on for about 15 seconds. Time for the gloves to come off. During those 15 seconds, as I am looking away from my mirrors, I see my 14,000 lumen searchlight sitting in my passenger seat, at which point I'm immediately overcome by a wave of chaotic lawful excitement. What he has just set in motion cannot be stopped. I think to myself, oh buddy, you just opened the wrong can of worms. You're gonna learn today. I grab the flashlight and set it to its absolute max 14,000 lumen brightness setting. The flashlight has a sensor in it to automatically dim the light if facing down on a table, because otherwise the diodes would get so hot they would melt the lens. The 14,000 lumen setting is so intense, the 57 watt-hour battery can only hold it for 180 seconds before the flashlight automatically notches down to a measly 9,500 lumens. During those 180 seconds, the light will burn through 15% of its battery power. For reference on just how bright this is, the literal sun emits a luminosity of 11,000 lumens per square foot on a bright and clear day. I turn around and aim it straight out the back of my rear window. I reverend up my engine to make sure Captain Smoothbrain is eyes forward when I violate his retinas with the full force of an afternoon sun. I hit the power button and can only imagine the freight train of shock and pain that plowed over this man. It was so bright, his automatic headlights shut off because the car thought it was daytime. With the light on, I could see him clear as glass through his tinted windshield. He was covering his eyes and looking down. Probably screaming. I watched him try and flip down his sun visor, but his hand couldn't find it, as I thought to myself, burn you Emphair. Burn. I imagine my facial expression was similar to that of a 6-year-old roasting insects with a magnifying glass on a bright summer day. After about 5 seconds of blinding light, I took mercy and shut it off. He proceeded to back way the hell off, and move over to a different lane. Was this an unsafe thing for me to do? Absolutely. Was this illegal? Almost certainly. Was it warranted? Without question. Possibly the highlight of my year. Do you think this kind of reaction was warranted? Or did this person go too far? Let us know in the comments.